Oh, I got to get in the gym, Lonzo.
The amazing feats that happen right before we go on the air.
I got to get in the gym. Good morning, everybody.
You don't sound out of breath. You sound good.
It's because I'm pulling away from the mic for it. 59:40. We start at 59:50. And I went, oh, I don't have my headphones. And I had to sprint like a lightning bolt across the sky to the office and back.
I think it was more like a lope. I don't know if I would go with the sprint.
Listen, it was most certainly a sprint. It's just all the sprint I got in me.
With your enormous speed, a sprint for that short distance, you might have hurt somebody or something. So I'm going to go with a lope.
Yes. No, it's not a lope. That was as fast as I could make it there back.
Jaunt,
and by the way, I would say I got there and back very quick. I realized with 15 seconds till the intro that I didn't have my cans. I got from here to the office, got the cans, got from the office back, and had butt in seat before the intro rolled. I'd say that's about as much as I could have asked out of myself. But as soon as I sat down, I was like,
I mean, if you would like me to take the next couple minutes so you can catch up, I can
no,
do
I'm good
that
now.
For you. Yeah.
I'm just saying, if there are any personal trainers who would like to trade some endorsements to get my fat behind into shape where a 30-foot run to the office and back doesn't have me gasping for breath.
It's not 30 feet.
Call my guy Kevin and get it hooked up. Call Kristen and hook it up. That's all I'm saying. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The Rob Brown Show is on your radio. It is the Fan Upstate. How is everybody? Did we have a good weekend? The Clemson Tigers are your ACC champions one more time again after they knock off Drake May and the Tar Heels of North Carolina, and they did it off the arm of Cade Klubnik, resulting in at least one smart-ass tweet to Lonzo and me, but to Lonzo.
Yeah, I can never follow where the original thing comes from because I'm a grandpa. So I see the replies and like, oh, okay, someone added me into a thing, and all I can think of is in my mind what it was about was, hey, Lord, don't you see them cut that Cade? We've been telling you Dabo is stupid because all season we've been telling you that Cade Klubnik is the guy, and if he's in there and we could have won and we'd been in the ace, we could have been at screw Ohio State. We would have been number 4, but because Dabo is not bright and he went with DJ and not Cade, and we back, baby. Woo, we back. Put the orange up. Let's go. Woo. Hashtag all in.
Get it all out?
Oh, no, I didn't.
I didn't think so. Here's the thing. Sheer sarcasm aside, they kind of have some weight to their argument now.
No, they don't. You know what?
What do you mean, no?
You know what they did? They beat an ACC team. Whoop-de-doo.
By the way,
that's what they did. How'd that non-conference go for you, Clemson? How'd that go? How'd that go for you?
116th ranked pass defense in college football, by the way. Listen, I'm not saying what Cade did wasn't impressive. I mean, the numbers statistically are very impressive. I'm just saying it was against the 116th ranked pass defense in college football.
Exactly. I mean, we predicted a beatdown, and that's what happened. I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, DJ struggled a little bit, and Dabo picked his spot. The spotlight. Everybody, all right, not everybody was, all right, only Clemson people were watching and people who have to work. And admittedly, I watched it on DVR because, I was busy and that's not, my life. But so for the few people that were watching, he made the switch. Good for him. And good for you because the rumors that somebody's on their way out now. I guess you were right Friday. Little secret. I wanted DJ to stay. You know why? Because I'm not a Clemson fan.
Why are we whispering?
Because it's a point of emphasis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it stands out. I mean, it's a loud whisper, and I make sure that the microphone picks it up because I got skills like that. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So DJ Dabo picks a spot. DJ came out, did not have a great start to the game. They went to Cade. Cade came in and did have a great start to the game, including 5 for 5 for 50. Was it 59 and a touchdown on the opening drive? And then just stayed hot the whole time. Let me tell you what bothered me. It was not the switch to Cade. It was not the fact that Cade came in and dealt. Granted, once again, against the 116th best passing defense in college football. But whatever. He came out. He dealt. They blew out the heels, right? None of that was the problem to me. Let me tell you what kind of got under my craw a little bit. By the way, before I get there, what is a craw?
It's what two teams have against a team that has a common opponent that beat them. You know what's under Clemson's craw and Tennessee's craw? South Carolina.
I'm not going to elaborate. I'll just leave that one for Lonzo because we're coming back to it later. So what got to me, what got stuck in my craw.
Hey, boy, you got something in your craw?
Which I just learned is your gullet.
The heck's a gullet?
Your throat.
I thought that was a goiter. I guess it depends on who you are.
So after the game was over, they go to Dabo down on the field for his post-game television interview. And Dabo says, you know, we came into this game saying that we were going to play Cade in the third series. As the very popular internet meme goes, Lonzo, press X to doubt. No, you weren't, Dabo. Stop it. Stop it. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. You rode hard with Deej. I got no problem with that. None. Deej had a bad start to the game, and you made the switch to a guy you thought gave you a better chance to win. There's nothing wrong with saying that, man. There's nothing wrong with saying that. Can I tell you, and I've said this a lot of times, right? I've said this a lot of times. Can I tell you what I think is going to get Dabo Swinney in trouble faster than anything else? What is going to get him in trouble faster than anything else is this desire to never say anything about his guys in a spot that makes it look like he is not just their totes BFF, right? You didn't go to Cade because you had a game plan to play him in the third series. You went to Cade because DJ stunk up the field. And you had to own that, right? Because Clemson fans, and now, as I mentioned, with a little weight to their argument, are going, wait a daggum second. Why did we not turn him loose against Notre Dame? Certainly, why did we not turn him loose against South Carolina? Why did we not go to that guy? And why did we not let him turn it loose? Dabo went, DJ's our guy. Cade's in development mode right now. And so he rode with DJ into the ACC title game. North Carolina jumped out to a lead because Clemson's offense was sputtering. And then they turned to Cade. And what happened? The offense marched up and down the field and won by 4 damn scores. Right? I'm not saying those fans were right or wrong in having called for Cade earlier in the year. I'm saying that they got some weight to the argument now, or they got some weight to the question now. The question now is, hey, why didn't we do this earlier? And Dabo's answer is going to be what? Is going to be what? He wasn't better than DJ? Because he certainly was on Saturday. He wasn't ready to play at that level because he was on Saturday. DJ was the guy because he wasn't on Saturday. DJ's the better option because he wasn't on Saturday. Now, on Saturday does not translate to 5 weeks ago against Notre Dame. on Saturday does not transfer to a week ago against South Carolina. All it means is that he was the better option on Saturday. But Clemson fans that are now sitting there going, you know what? We got smoked by Notre Dame. We still had a chance to get into the playoffs. If we would have been, because here's the reality, Zoe. If Clemson kicks one more field goal and beats South Carolina, Clemson's in the playoffs today. They just are. And we'll talk about that coming up. If Clemson beats South Carolina, they are in the college football national championship playoffs today. But they didn't, and they're not. And the question, and a very fair one now, is, would things have been different had Cade Klubnik entered the game against South Carolina? And sarcasm and jokes aside, you cannot definitively say the answer is no.
And you cannot definitively say the answer is yes. You said repeatedly that Dabo said Cade wasn't ready yet. Well, maybe he wasn't ready until Saturday. Maybe at that moment he was ready. When you're ready, you're ready. If you get in there before then, you can tell that when you're not ready. And the times that he was in there before, I don't think it was a matter of confidence. I think they thought that he was not ready. They were afraid if he threw the ball, he'd throw it to the other team, which he did. You put him in there against an ACC team who's not very good, who you just pointed out, the defense is horrible, especially the pass defense. He's going to look all world. Now, if he comes out against Tennessee and does the same thing, then it looks bad on Dabo. But you know what it looks good for? It looks good for Clemson going forward for the next couple of years.
I think that Dabo Swinney has, and I've said this before, Dabo Swinney has a problem. And I'm not alone in this take. I have heard Clemson tinted radio hosts say the same thing. Dabo Swinney has loyalty to a fault. Dabo Swinney cares more about being seen a particular way than he does anything else. And I absolutely do believe that it has an influence on the way that he coaches football. And I think that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes it has a negative impact on the way he coaches football. Do I think that Cade would have come in and done things differently enough against South Carolina that Clemson would have won the game? I don't know.
All right. Here's a point to make. Dabo has pulled starters before and put the young guy in early in the season because they were ready. The fact that he didn't do that anytime up until now makes me believe that Cade wasn't ready.
And that's fine, but here's the problem. At which point, right? Because we can sit here and go, oh, Cade looked great against an ACC team, the 106th ranked team passing defense in college football. And you're correct. You know who looked like crap against that same defense? DJ Uiagalelei 5 minutes earlier.
You know why he probably looked that way? Because he already knew he was getting pulled. To me, if you go back
do
and
you believe
you
that
go back
Dabo
and watch,
said third series Cade's
yes, I
going
do.
in?
Yes, I do. I do. I think if you look the way DJ played those first couple of series, he knew he was coming out, and he also knew when he came out that he would not be going back in.
If you are right, and I'm going capitalized and italicized if you are right. If Dabo walked into the pregame inning was like, all right, guys, third series, Cade is going in, then I got a problem with that too, right? I got a problem with that too. Why would you tell DJ, you're the guy, you're the guy, you're the man, you're the guy, you're the man, you're the man, and then in the biggest game of the year, question mark, quotation marks, in the biggest game of the year go, oh, and by the way, this is the game we're going to sit you.
In the past, when Clemson was during their dynastic phase, which they are no longer in, when they were in that, everyone got to play. Everyone. There was rarely a third quarter where these starters played because everyone got to play. He hasn't been able to do that lately. If he comes in and says, and a lot of college football teams will do this, we want Cade to get a little experience in the championship game, so we're going to bring him in for a series right around series 3. It doesn't mean that he came out and said he's coming in series 3 and then he's never going back. But DJ heard all the rumors, seen all the signs. I mean, you got to know if that guy comes in and he does real well, you're done. And if you're right about the transferring, he already knew he was transferring. He knew he was done after the second. I
don't think he knew he was transferring. I think this is a post-game development, right?
Oh, that's still rumor, by the way. It hasn't been confirmed yet.
It is. There's rumor and there's smoke all around it.
Some people are really, really happy about that, though.
Yeah, and I'm going to say something to those people coming up later in the show. If you are the people that are giving DJ grief, I'm glad you're gone. Don't let the door hit you. You're gross, all right? And we're going to get to that coming up in a little while. But if you are giving this kid disrespect on the way out the door, you're gross, and you should reevaluate how you look at football. I'll come to that later on in the show. Here's what I'll say about what happened in the ACC title game. In the ACC title game, DJ Uiagalelei played poorly to open the game. Dabo went to Cade because that game mattered. I don't think Clemson had a path in the playoffs, but they certainly didn't if they did anything except blow the doors off of North Carolina, right? So he made the switch. Do I think that Dabo had a game plan to play Cade in Series 3? No, I don't. No, I don't. Why not? Because he didn't do that in any other game. Why all of a sudden in a conference championship game would that have been the plan? It wasn't the plan against the Irish. It wasn't the plan against Louisville. It wasn't the plan against Miami. It wasn't the plan against South Carolina. But now all of a sudden, in an away game against North Carolina in the ACC championship, now all of a sudden the plan the whole time was to play Cade in the third series. I don't believe you. I'm not saying you're a liar. I am saying I don't believe you. All right? Now, that being said, I think that you had a moment there where Cade came in, showed that whether he's the future dynastic quarterback or not is irrelevant. He is now the starting quarterback. DJ will not be getting that job back in the bowl game or otherwise. So DJ's gone, which is what I told you was going to happen 2 weeks ago, right? You'd have to like it, but I told you it was going to happen.
He's not gone yet. I mean,
he will be.
We'll see.
Because the other dirt sheet report going on right now is that guess who's already shopping not just DJ, but shopping DJ allegedly, along with, hey, if you bring in DJ Uiagalelei as a transfer, his 4 or 5 star brother is coming with him as a package deal. Big Dave. Big, I built my kid into a national brand before he chin strapped up for the first time at this level. Dave is shopping Uiagalelei Volume 2 and going, but if you want him, you got to take DJ in the deal too. DJ's gone because it helps both brothers, which, okay, fine. But to believe that Dabo's plan all along was to go Cade third series, how, like, why so specific too, right? Oh, third series, not first quarter, not after a few minutes, not to transition back and forth. Third series specifically. You haven't done that in any other game, but this game, third series specifically. What do you want, man? Like, come on. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. DJ didn't do it. You realize that DJ's our guy and I won't switch away from him. Made you look bad. So you made the switch. That's what you did. We'll talk more about it coming up. Clemson fans, your reaction to winning the ACC championship. Were you happy? And is Cade Klubnik the guy? All that and more coming up. We'll get to that. Our playoff 4 are out. We'll tell you who's playing for a natty. You already know. So we'll talk about who should win the natty, who will win the natty. All that and more coming up in this hour of the show. It is college football for 60 minutes to open the show. From the NFL guys, Rob and Lonzo.
I don't know if I know how to do that.
I believe in you, buddy. I believe in you.
I'm gonna dig down deep. Yeah, that counts.
Hey,
yeah.
I'm gonna substitute you in for the third segment. It was the plan all along.
That's why Chris is here.
Back after this on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate. I have to fix my flag again.
Gee, wonder who made such a horrible shot that they knocked the flag down.
Flag was already down when I made my horrible
No. I was not.
okay.
I was talking about. I was in here Saturday. I didn't see that thing down. So we'll blame the new guy. Brandon did it.
Damn it, Brandon. Do better. Hey, it's Rob Brown. Listen, there are some people in the industry that are going to tell you selling a home today is a hassle. Ladies and gentlemen, it is not
Oh, there you go. That'll take care of it. You'll show them by putting that extra pin in there. Rob just told the chair not to roll, and it didn't. He has powers, magic powers. That's mutant powers. There's a difference. Now you just put that in everyone's head for the entire day. We'll probably see like the new X-Men like in 2030. People not very happy. I was just sitting there thinking. I'll wait till you get. Yeah, of course you did. All I know is he's getting his cardio in today. Maybe that's helping his sorcery. And the fact that we have carpet on the floor now, so it's hard for the chairs to roll. Do that like a month ago, and he's probably laying flat. Or asking me to come steady the chair, which is what I do. That's what I'm here for. What I was saying is, do you remember the last time there wasn't a big movie that you were looking forward to in December? I know some people will say Avatar, but whatever. I don't care about that movie. Thanks, Steven. According to the internet, they don't deserve to be there. So, according to the internet and some people on the station, they don't deserve to be there. And as I tweeted out, what are they supposed to do? Say no? Sorry, man. We're not supposed to be here. Pick somebody else. I don't even know what the next superhero movie is. Is it the next Shazam, maybe? Or is it Ant-Man?
Let's see.
Probably not till next year.
MCU is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Is that like March? Well,
yes. February.
Oh, okay.
Mid-February. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is in May. The Marvels is in July. Captain America New World Order is May 3rd. And that's it for next year for them.
Grab one at participating Taco Bell stores during breakfast hours only until 11 a.m. while supplies last. Mark Ryan tells it like it is.
Coming up on a Monday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel, Clemson season, a success, a failure, or somewhere in between. We will analyze the upcoming college football playoff. We've got onsides and offsides and so much more, all on a Monday episode of Offsides with Mark Ryan and Diesel on Fan Upstate.
Number one for real afternoon sports talk.
Offsides with Mark Ryan.
3 to 7 on the Fan.
Oh, Mr. Sensitive's back on the text line. I wake up to hear more Clemson bashing. Nobody bashed you, bro.
I did.
Okay, Lonzo
I
bashed
did.
you. That's fair.
You know what?
That's fair.
I don't fear you. I will bash as long as I'm allowed to bash.
Questioning the decision-making of your head coach is not bashing you. It's literally my bleeping job, dude. That's my job.
Wait. Your job's not to kiss up to Clemson and everything they do and point out how good they are?
My job is to not
and then
kiss
say
anybody's
you're
butt.
not a Clemson fan? That's not your job?
No.
Okay. All right.
My job is not to kiss anybody's butt. My job is to question and opine about everything. And if you as a Clemson fan are not asking if Dabo made a poor decision by not giving Cade a shot at South Carolina when DJ was struggling, then you have on orange-colored glasses. And if you can't take off the orange-colored glasses, that's okay, buddy. But this ain't going to be the show for you, my guy.
Still, your assumption is that this is a dude. It could very well be a female fan. It could be.
Dude is a gender fluid term. I call everybody dude. I call the lady friend dude. It's a dude is a term of affection and endearment that suits everybody. She's a dude. He's a dude. They're a dude. We're all the dude. The dude abides. Everybody catches a dude because dude is a universal term. And I'll stand by that and take that to the grave, which will be marked Rob Brown, dude.
I don't know if I've just been chastised or put down or
not
what.
at all.
I don't know.
Not at all. I'm just saying, I'm not making an assumption about the gender of the texter. I'm just saying dude covers all my bases. Dude is y'all.
I'm the one who said, dude, you never did. So it was me. It's on me. I don't assume that you're a guy or girl. You could be an alien or an AI plant for all I know. But you are trolling and
I don't think they're trolling.
And you're not, and
they're
you're
up in their feels.
And you're not very good at it. That's
I
the bad part. I mean,
I think, Zoe, and I have noted this, and so have you. There are fans of every school who have a sheer inability to take off the orange glasses, right? When I say the orange glasses, I'm talking about the color of your school. I'm just using orange as the example.
All right, because, I would rather go blind and wear orange glasses.
There are Ohio State fans right now that cannot take off the scarlet glasses. And I'm like, hey, if you rematch at Michigan, besides the fact that Michigan's now missing their best player for the playoffs, tell me why it would be different. And their answer is because we're Ohio State. That's not an answer. Right? That's scarlet glasses. There are South Carolina Gamecock fans that can't take off the glasses.
That Ohio State scenario you just mentioned could actually happen. You know why?
Because they're in the playoffs.
Because they're in the playoffs. You know who isn't? That would be Clemson. Go ahead. Continue talking about orange.
Look, your inability to take off the orange glasses is your problem, not mine. If you can look at what Cade did against North Carolina and tell me that you know for a fact, there go Cade, baby! Woo! That Dabo made the right decision by not giving Cade Klubnik a shot against South Carolina, then you are a Dabo apologist, and that's okay, but this ain't going to be the show for you because I'm not. I don't disrespect the guy. I don't dislike the guy. I don't have anything against him or for him. He's the coach of a team that I cover, right? I don't know him personally. I met him 2 or 3 times. He's been incredibly nice to me. Doesn't mean that I'm not going to question his decision-making process. And here's what I know. What I know What I know, and I say this with the utmost confidence, is that if Clemson had beat South Carolina at the end of the year, they would be in the college football playoffs right now. They would have gone in ahead of Ohio State. Zoe shaking his head, yes.
No, I'm not in my head. I've never understood that. Shake is this. I'm not being, I mean, you know, you're not the only one who does that. I'm not in my head. Yes, because Clemson would have one loss and they would also be a
conference champion.
Conference champion, yeah. I mean, if you want to argue that, then you have those glasses on that Rob was talking about. I don't.
Listen to this text. Yes, your negative takes on Clemson come through. Just remember, we are 1 point removed from being in the playoffs and also conference champs for 7 out of the last 8 years. Haters, what the hell did I literally just say, my guy? I literally just said that 7 seconds ago, but you are too dense between the ears to listen to what I have to say. You assigned me what you wanted me to say so that you could be mad at me because your sensitive ass can't handle reality because the orange glasses are Coke bottle thick, my dude.
I was waiting for you to say good day, sir, at the end of that rant because I had that vibe of that. I want to point out.
I just said
that.
Yeah.
The key thing in the text was, if we hadn't lost by 1 point, but you know what? You did to your rival. You took them lightly. You took the South Carolina Gamecocks lightly, and they beat you. So not only did they win the Palmetto Bowl, not only did they win the state, they knocked you out of the playoff. But you crow all you want about winning that ACC championship. Good for you. That's what you always do. It's not that hard. But you know what? You ain't going. You ain't going to the playoff till 2024. You'll be in there in 2024. So you just have to wait another year or so.
Okay, texter. I want you to sit down.
Would you stop slamming?
No.
You're going to break something.
I would like you to sit down and I would like you to try for the first time ever to actually listen to what I have to say. Okay? Listen to me. I asked a very simple question. I did not hate on you. I did not dump on you. I said a true statement. I said, look, if you beat South Carolina, you're in the playoffs. True or false, listener? True. Thank you very much. I said Cade Klubnik came in for DJ against North Carolina, a defense that DJ was struggling against, and he tore them up. True or false, listener? True. Thank you very much. And then I said, I don't believe that Dabo told his team, third series, we're going Cade. I think that Dabo didn't play Cade against South Carolina because of his loyalty to DJ. I said I don't believe that Dabo said in pregame, we're going Cade third series. I think Dabo needed to justify why he made the switch in this game and not the South Carolina game. And then I said, if he made the South Carolina switch, hypothetically speaking, if he made the QB switch against South Carolina and Cade came in and won the game, you would be in the playoffs as a 12-1 conference champion. But he didn't. And I'm saying that if you are unable to look at Dabo and go, did he make, or not say that he did, not make the statement that he made a bad decision, but ask the question, did he make a bad decision? Then you are a diehard fan with no objectivity, and that's okay. You are not obligated to have objectivity. It is not a rule of the universe that you have objectivity. But if you can't ask the question, did Dabo make a mistake by not going to Cade Klubnik in the South Carolina game, a game that if you had won, you'd be playing for a national championship in a few weeks? If you can't ask that question, you don't have the teeniest bit of subjectivity when it comes to talking about your football team. And that's okay, but we ain't going to be the show for you. However, do not mistake questioning for bashing. They're not the same. To you, they are, because you're a bootlicker, is what you are. You're a bootlicker. Dabo can do no wrong to you, and that's okay. Sports is entertainment. And if you want to have yourself entertained by believing that Dabo can do no wrong, then fine. It's your money, your time, and your life. But don't come at me and try to label me a hater because I have the audacity of asking, did the head coach make a mistake? And stating, now that I saw what Cade Klubnik did against North Carolina, yes, I think he did. And I think it cost you a playoff berth. Would it have mattered? No, because I think Clemson would have got dragged by Georgia by about 42 points. But that's irrelevant. You'd have been in the dance. You'd have had a crack at it. You'd have had a shot to be the plucky underdogs who went in there and wrote a story. But I think the mistake cost you a shot. I think it cost you a playoff berth. Does that mean Dabo's a bad coach? No. He's got ringed up multiple. There are 5 active head coaches with a national championship. Dabo Swinney is 20% of the active coaches that have been ringed up. He's good. He's a very good coach. But even the best make mistakes. Even MJ missed game winners. Even Gretzky missed a couple of wide open nets. Right? If you can't see that Dabo may have made a mistake and it may have cost you a playoff berth and a national championship, that's on you. That's not bashing, my dude. That is a freaking fact. Accept it or don't. It's your life. I don't personally care. How you doing, Alonzo? Having a good day over there, buddy?
Yeah, I'm enjoying the intensity.
Okay.
Throwing out the 3 eyes over there. Way to go.
All right.
Hey, but keep listening and keep text her. Because, yeah, I love you.
Texter said, fan, I really enjoy Hostile Rob. I'm not, listen.
If you can feel the wind in this room right now.
I'm not hostile.
From the sheer power of his voice.
Okay.
That's why I had to sit back away from the mic and just, yeah.
In fairness, I did call him a bootlicker.
You did.
Maybe it's a little hostile.
The bootlicker was, that was a high point for me because in the back of my mind, I heard you lent liquor.
That's a great reference, Alonzo. Texter said, love a good burger reference at 9 a.m. Yeah, well, you're welcome to the show. If we make it an hour without a food reference, check on me. Something's wrong. Texter, our buddy Thomas from the warehouse in Midtown. Thomas, what's up, big dog? He said Cade should have started game 1 of the year. I got no problem with Dabo going to DJ. None. DJ had me convinced too. ACC Media Days, we interviewed the guy. I walked in, I was like, damn, this guy has had a complete mentality shift, a complete paradigm shift about himself and his body. He looks good. He's confident. He looks good. I'm like, roll with that guy. No problem with that. I am not asking, or I'm not saying it was a bad call to have started DJ. I'm saying it is fair to ask the question, and I am. If Cade plays at South Carolina, could he have recreated, or I guess at that point created, what he did against North Carolina? DJ struggled against the Heels. Cade came in and smoked him. If Cade comes in against the Gamecocks and smokes them, you guys are in the playoffs today. That is not a statement of I think. That's a statement of fact. You are in the playoffs over Ohio State as an 11-1 conference champion over a 1-loss non-conference championship participant who got blown out at home. Sorry, Zoe. But Clemson, you'd be in the play. Think about Zoe's attitude today if Clemson's in the playoffs when Ohio State's at 5.
My attitude today would not be what their attitude is. As I've said all along, Ohio State doesn't deserve to be in the playoff because they lost to Michigan. but they're there, so I'm going to root for them. I don't know who else should have been in. Were you going to pick Alabama? Who were you going to pick? They were next up. They're in. Good for them.
I agree.
But I would not be upset if Clemson got in because they would have deserved to get in. But you know what? They didn't. You know why? Because they lost to South Carolina.
Texas said Cade should have been in about 4 games ago. Yes, Dabo bleeped up, and he alone with everyone else knows it. He gifted the Shamecocks a win.
No. So you can't do that for a year. You can't. I mean, you can try, but Gamecocks are the victor over you Tigers. So you can keep that quiet for a year because you lost. You lost everything thanks to, well, if Dabo would have done this, in the end, if you would have scored 2 more points, you'd be in, right? Today. But you didn't, and you're not. So get all excited about the future, which you should, because if Cade can hand the ball off that much and throw the minimal amount that he did, you got a good shot of winning. If your defense plays well enough next year, and you still play in the ACC, so you got a shot at it. But until then, keep in the back of your mind, always remember that you lost to South Carolina. You know what? If you forget, I'm here to remind you.
Texter said, I don't like the taste of boots. I will stick to licking toes. Oh, it's going to be one of those days. Good.
You brought that on yourself.
I sure did. I don't even avoid it. All right. Texter says, what the hell did I miss this morning?
Well, there are several ways that you could listen to what you missed.
TheFanUpstate.com. Click on the podcast button, drop it down to the Rob Brown Show. Within 5 minutes of the end of every hour, that entire hour is podcasted right there for you, and you can hear every bit of it, including the part where I called one particular Clemson fan a bootlicker.
There's another way you can do it. If you go into the Odyssey app, there's a rewind button. Sure and is. I guarantee you, after this segment is over and I label the segment, it will be labeled bootlicker.
Yeah.
So if you want to know where
what else would it be?
Yeah, so there you go.
All right. I'm gonna go grab some water and chill out during the break. Because I've been called hostile. I'm not hostile. I'm aggravated.
I relish in your hostility.
There's a difference.
Bring it. Embrace the dark side.
I'm not bashing you, Texter. You just have zero objectivity. None. And that's your problem, not mine. Back after this, Rob Lonzo and you, the Rob Brown Show's right here on the Fan Upstate. I just realized I'm going to have to go home to do the podcast today. Because this is all I brought to wear.
You ain't got nothing underneath?
I got an undershirt.
You can go skins, man.
No, I can't.
You don't want to go undershirt? Do undershirt. I can film you head up. Drape yourself in a flag. I like animated Rob. It's fun.
Download the Odyssey app and search the Fan Upstate, then listen anywhere on your phone. I'm Trey Westerberg with your Sports Flash on the Fan Upstate.
If you own a business, this has been a bumpy ride. From pandemic to inflation, I'm sure you could use a break. If your business has 5 or more employees and survived COVID, you might be eligible to receive a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. The challenge is getting your hands on it. Hi, I'm Howard Mackler, and that's why I founded GetRefunds.com to cut the red tape.
I'm not speaking now because we need a little bit of a quiet period. Just a little bit of just a little bit of silence. I will still dance though because there's always music in my head. It's not nervous energy. It's about as much rhythm as I have. That's me dancing right there. It's grandpa dancing because
Slayer.
If I'm dancing to the music in my head, which is bumping right now, or whatever the kids call it today. I don't know. Slapping, slamming. I don't know. That could be it, Brandon. Go Saints.
Correct, Brendan. It's game day, baby. Get up, get loud. It's game day.
So the question is, how many people go, okay, 2 losing teams playing each other or Monday Night Raw? Which one am I watching?
I mean, football's football.
Is it? I don't know. Seen some pretty bad football lately.
Not going to argue with that.
I turned football off for a while yesterday
I believe it.
after Travis Kelce had that ball ripped from his arms, and then Cincinnati won that game. And you know, this is another one of those times where I think about should I mortgage something to try to buy tickets to go watch Ohio State play Georgia when it's just a couple hours away?
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't do it.
Dude, get a press pass and go.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a problem. It's on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's right.
Although
for you.
no, I'm going to record
I'll do
it.
the poll
I'm
set.
going to record it. I'm going to record the show. What I was thinking of doing, and since you're in here also, is recording a segment here and there between now and then. Just a best of the year segment. Here's the best movie of the year as
Right.
far as, you know, here's the video game you played the most, all that kind of stuff. But I probably will record it. But the thing I was joking about earlier in the office about this
Yeah.
was not a joke.
I'm
So yeah. Because Lisa would go in a heartbeat if we could afford it.
Yeah.
And I can't go without her. I'm not going to do that. Even though a beat down will probably happen. I'm not so certain. But still.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be pretty.
I'm rooting for the story, and the story is Ohio State beating
The redemption
Georgia
tour.
and then facing Michigan for the national championship and defeating them. Because that's the story for me on my side. Other people have different stories, but this is my story. I don't know, everybody. He looks calm to me. Could be a facade.
You guys train wrecked my show prep. I even actually did written out show prep today. I got sound clips to get to.
Yeah, we got 2 more hours, dude. I mean, we got
know.
plenty of time.
But you know how I keep a tight schedule, Lonzo.
Yes, you do. It's I feel like I'm going to be taken to the office anytime I derail.
Yeah. See me in my office when the show's over, please.
I will.
Listen. Dabo made a mistake. Okay? He made a mistake. Everybody makes mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. Even me. Shocking, I know. Dabo made a mistake by not giving Cade a crack at South Carolina. Would it have worked out? I don't know.
If he had played him and he had lost a couple games, people would be saying something different. I
Sure.
mean, you know, hindsight and all that stuff. But even with this, you don't know for sure what he would have done. You don't.
You're right. You don't. But I do know what definitely did happen under DJ. And what definitely did happen under DJ was a loss in an in-state rivalry game and the removal of a ticket to the playoffs. Everything shaked out in a way that Clemson would have been in probably at number 4. And they'd have been playing Georgia in Atlanta, and it would have gone poorly, and they'd have been a 35-point dog, but they'd have had a chance to upset them and to write a fairy tale season.
Is bootlicker one word?
Yes. It's
Okay,
one word.
that's what I went with. It's
Yeah.
just weird.
I don't know what happened, what would have happened had Cade entered the game against South Carolina. But I do know what did happen. And yes, hindsight is 2020. Before you fire off your take of, well, Rob, it's easy to say that a week and 3 days after the game. Yes, it is. Which is why I'm not sitting here going, fire Dabo. Which if you go to some Clemson message boards, some of your idiot fans are saying. Some of your lowest common denominator, Paul Feinbaum style fans are saying, Dabo's got to go. He clearly can't see the talent up. No. He rode with a guy he thought gave him the best chance to win. Were his reasons for doing so bad? I don't know. That's up to you to decide.
Bring back Tommy Bowden.
But what I can say is, with the benefit of hindsight, I can say that Dabo made a mistake, that Dabo screwed up, that he should have given Cade a crack at South Carolina, and maybe the result's different. And yes, I am also aware that had he put in Cade and Cade not gotten the job done and they lost at South Carolina, that some of you, and hell, maybe me, would have come in here on Monday and gone, why would you put that guy in? He's only played 12.5 snaps as the start, as the first string quarterback. Why would you put him in the rivalry game? But it was a mistake. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like I said, I saw Clemson fans on message boards saying they hope Dabo goes fishing with the Bowden brothers and Steve-O down in the Keys. That ain't me. I ain't doing that. Dabo Swinney is still one of the best coaches in college football. Are there faults to him? Yes. Of course there are. There's faults to everybody.
You meant Spurrier, not Steve-O, because that's a weird combination.
Yes, yeah, Steve Spurrier. The OBC. He made a mistake. Can I single-handedly chalk that up to Clemson not being in the playoffs? No. If you didn't lose to Notre Dame, even if you lost to South Carolina, you'd be in the playoffs. You got boat raced by the Irish, too. What I can say is if you can't look at this and say, Dabo made a mistake, then you're incapable of objective conversation about your football team. And if that's the case, that's okay. There are entire radio stations and shows dedicated to rectum smooching that football program. But this ain't one of them, dude. This one ain't for you. Let's take a break. We come back. Deion Sanders is now the head coach at Colorado, the Buffs out in Boulder. And Deion made some waves with his introductory speech to his new team. I got a clip of audio from that I'm going to get into. The USA bounced from the World Cup in the knockout phase. What went wrong, what went right, and what comes next? Is Berhalter out? I'll give you some thoughts on that and more, all coming up on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate.
You should read Steven's comment. It's very wrong.
That's why you were laughing so hard.
Man, I hope that Clemson and Tennessee both wear orange for the game. Because wouldn't that just be amazing? Leading up to that Clemson-Tennessee game, I may play Rocky Top every single break in and out.
Oh, Rocky Top, you will always be number 2 in the SEC. Good old Rocky Top. Woo! Rocky Top 10.
But number 2 in the SEC makes you the ACC champion, right? Or wait a minute. Number 5, what is South Carolina in the SEC? How'd they finish? I am not an interior decorator.
The Upstate Holiday Light Show is going on now at Greenville Pickens Speedway. Drive through a nighttime Christmas wonderland. It's 32 million colors. The sky ablaze, synchronized to the music of your favorite holiday classics. UpstateLights.com.
I'm Bobber, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773 Network.
So Tim and I had a musical argument Saturday that may be off the air because he had to go home. He said that D flat was a key. And I said, no, D minor is a key.
I believe that is correct.
I
never learned music theory.
Yeah, me either. But I've never heard of the D flat key. And so he started to show me stuff. So he's showing me guitar. I was like, don't show me guitar stuff. And just because something has a chord in it doesn't mean that's the key it's in. I just want to point out that I won the argument just because in the end he was like, okay, you're right. Because I said, show me how to play a D flat on the piano because I don't know guitar. And by the way, Tim sang a song for me, and he sings so well that I just don't want to be a part of the song anymore. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm not jealous of talent. I appreciate it, but it hurts my feelings that I don't have it.
Trust me, I am painfully aware of how that feels.
CBS Sports Radio.
On your radio at 97.7 FM, 1330 AM, Greenville, 97.1 FM, 950 AM, Spartanburg.
Listen on your phone.
It was a piano man moment, though. Because all I can think was, man, why are you here? I mean, you sound that good. Why are you here? Why are you sitting right there? Why are you not out on tour somewhere? You will witness it live, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong. And so will everybody else. I'm nearly like putting myself on bass duty. I'll just sing bass. That's it. I'm just gonna sing bass. We're good.
So Courtney, I've been in a band 15 years, and I cannot naturally harmonize. Can't do it. Can't do it. Don't know why. Never been able to figure it out. Like all the songs that I sing backup vocals, my lead singer had to teach me the harmony parts aside from his leads, and I can't listen to him. And I just have to trust that he can hear me and do it.
Yeah, I have a problem with it too.
can't-
Lisa can sing any part, and it's just like, yeah.
Texter said, Rob, blood pressure medications are a beautiful thing. You know, I wouldn't need them if I didn't have Texter saying dumb things to me all the time.
I do have to say there's some concern about the shade of red that Rob turned during that segment. And you know what? If you're not watching on stream, you missed it, which is why you need to watch us on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Twitter. You need to be on there watching so you can go, I'm worried about him. Look at his face. It's purple. What's going on?
Facebook.com/thefanupstate, Twitter.com/thefanupstate, or search and subscribe to the Rob Brown Show on YouTube or on Twitch. And you can watch all 3 hours of the show live and behind the scenes. We talked during the breaks about stuff that is not on the show prep list, etc. It's a lot of fun. It's interesting. Join us there. All right. Let's keep going, shall we? Phone lines open, 844-FAN, phone 844-FANFO, and 844-326-3663. Text the text line. I forgot how the word text line works.
Yeah, text FAN to 71307.
Yeah, 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N, and we will read them live and on the air for you.
Maybe because Rob's struggling right now. He may have lost his ability to read. I don't know.
It's because a texter just texted in and started with my name, but spelled it R-A-A-B-E. Rab! Texter said, I recall you saying that you were dressing garnet and black if the Gamecocks won against Clemson. Did I miss that, or are verbal contracts non-binding these days? That's from Andrew in the Berg. No, Andrew, you heard correctly. I did say that, and I will do that. I did say that, and I will do that.
See, I don't recall that being said. Did that happen while I wasn't here?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
It was the week leading up to Clemson, South Carolina.
Because I am Rob's memory, and I would have helped him.
Yeah, I said going in to that final stretch of 3 games with Florida, Tennessee, and Clemson, after the L to Florida, I was like, okay, you guys are done. You're going to be a 6-win team because you're not going to win another game this season. And then they beat UT and Clemson. And after the UT game, I said, if you guys knock off Clemson, I will wear Gamecock stuff on the air because I don't believe you're going to get it done. And a texter made a bet with me, and I took the bet and said I would wear Gamecock gear if they beat the Tigers in their house, and they did.
Well, if you need some that would fit you, I just let me know, and I'll bring you in a jersey or something you can wear over your shirt so you don't get my BO. I mean, because it's obviously you deal with it every day.
Gross.
You know what it's like. So
Gross.
I have a condition.
You don't need to say any more words, Lonzo. That's plenty of words out of you for this segment.
It's earthy, like,
Lonzo,
fresh
Lonzo,
onions in the summer.
Stop it. Stop it. All right. While we're on the subject of Clemson fans, let me say this one thing. And then I'll get away from the purple and orange for a little while because I got a lot more stuff to get into. What a busy ass weekend in sports it was. The reports right now are that DJ Uiagalelei is going to hit the transfer portal. I told you that 2 weeks ago. I thought he was going to hit the transfer portal. And now the reports are starting to blow around that he is. And the reports now are that DJ and his little brother, who is depending on what recruiting service you look at, is a 5-star defensive end. Mateo Uiagalelei is the younger brother of DJ. He has been taking some official visits. He has visited Ohio State. He has visited USC. He has visited Oregon. There are other areas that he has voted as well, and some other Pac-12 schools that he has considered, one of them UCLA. Mateo Uyunglele is a big music guy, wants to be in the music industry. I'm flustered. Wants to be in the music industry, and a lot of the Pac-12
See what you
schools have
did,
great music
bootlickers?
programs.
See what you did, bootlickers? You broke Rob.
They're in my head. Okay. So
You're too animated to be a zombie.
So the rumor right now, and again, it is a rumor, but the rumor right now is that Big Dave Uyunglele is shopping both Uyunglele brothers as a package deal. If you want Mateo Uyunglele, you will take DJ out of the transfer portal with him. I have a major problem with this, right? I have a major problem with it if it's true. I have a massive problem with Papa Uyunglele. I already did because I genuinely feel like Papa Uyunglele created a brand around DJ. What do you got, Zoe?
All right. According to several sources, Clemson running back Kobe Pace has entered the transfer portal.
Okay. I'm not shocked about that either.
The mass exodus has begun. Oh, no. They're all leaving now. What are you going to do, Clemson? Everybody's leaving. All right. One guy's left so far.
Not the only one, by the way. There was and now I forgot to record who it was, but I saw one last night, too. It was like a third stringer, but anyway, Kobe Pace out, if that is accurate. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, beat the books with our friends at BetQL. Check the BetQL app or find their podcast at BetQL.com. So I got a problem if the rumor is true that Big Dave is shopping the Uyunglele's as a package deal. I got a problem with it because you are heavily restricting what Mateo Uyunglele can do. And if Big Dave did not learn from his mistake with what he did with DJ, then I got nothing for him, right? If you were going to limit Mateo Uyunglele, a 5-star defensive end prospect, if you're going to limit his options so that DJ's got somewhere to go, you're doing the same thing again. You're building a brand around a kid who's proven nothing, right? You're going to end up having them dressing out at like Arizona State because the USCs of the world are already stocked at QB. They're not going to want a guy who went to Clemson and didn't get it done. That's not disrespect. It just is what it is, right? But Big Dave is not the guy that I want to talk to in this segment. The guy that I want to talk to in this segment is the guy that's on social media putting DJ Uyunglele on blast because I guess they feel like taking shots at a 21-year-old kid because they didn't live up to your expectations of a football player at your university is okay. And I don't get it. I don't get it. The news started breaking last night that he was going to be in the portal. And I saw a whole lot of don't let the door hit you where the good Lord splits you on the way out, DJ. But it's 21 and he wasn't good enough of a quarterback for you, so you're going to turn into a jackass? Cool, man.
Turn into?
It's not all right, man. Like, he's gone. Relax. Right? There were a lot more problems at Clemson besides just DJ Uyunglele. Yes, DJ didn't work out the way that you wanted him to. You're going to miss on recruits. Every college football coach does. But let's be real here. If you are going to hammer on DJ for not being the guy, why aren't you hammering on Dabo for rolling with not the right guy? Right? The answer is because everybody thought he was going to be the right guy. And they missed. It's okay.
I'm just curious, how many games did DJ lose in his college career so far?
4.
In 2 years? He lost 4?
Yeah.
Wow, that's horrible. who would want a guy like that as their quarterback?
Listen,
I mean, what kind of fan base would want that kind of guy as their quarterback? How dare he lose? Because obviously he lost all of them single-handedly. It was all his fault. He threw an interception or something at the end of the game, all those games, and that's why they lost.
listen, I respect and appreciate your defense of DJ Uiagalelei. I like the guy. I do. I'm a fan. Super nice guy. I criticized him to his face, and he looked at me, disagreed, and shook my hand on the way out the door.
By the way,
respect that.
I'm not necessarily defending him. I'm defending the position. They put so much pressure on the quarterback position, so much credit, and also so much blame. Unless it was a pick six that cost you the game at the end of the game, chances are he's not the main reason why you lost those games. He could be part of the reason, but you want to put all the blame on him because you expect perfection. Good. You expect perfection, but it's not all his fault, but that's fine. That's fine. Cade comes in and loses the game right away. Who's the guy behind Cade now? I don't know. Whoever the next big thing is, he ought to be ready because the fans are going to want him in if Cade loses the game.
Texter said, DJ is a professional player making $1 million to play. People should be able to say what they want. I mean, look, if it makes you feel better to beat up on a 21-year-old kid who busted his ass for your school and couldn't get it done and took advantage of an opportunity presented to him that, let's be real, most of us will never get the opportunity to experience. If it makes you feel better to go online and drop your little fun bombs on DJ on social media, I mean, good luck with your life. I hope it improves. If throwing bad words at DJ because he wasn't good enough of a quarterback for you while you sat on the couch and ate wings and drank beer, and you feel good about unloading on a 21-year-old kid because he didn't meet your expectations of him, let's just say I'm glad you're not my parents. That's a terrible look. It's a terrible look. And by goodness, did I see a lot of it. And you're not alone. I've seen it at other schools too, man. I really have. If DJ came out today and started wiping his rear end with a tiger paw towel, I get it. If DJ came out today and showed a picture of him dry humping Memorial Stadium with a middle finger saluted at you, then I'd get it. But the kid did none of that. He was a remarkable ambassador for your college. Every time I was in the same area as DJ, he was nothing but the utmost of a gentleman. He was a good dude who busted it for you, and it didn't work out. It doesn't work out for a lot of people in a lot of opportunities at a lot of places a lot of times. It didn't work out. If you are dropping what you consider hot burns on DJ because he didn't work out as a football player, I don't know what to say to you, man. It's gross. Stop. Do better. He came. He was a remarkable ambassador. I have yet to meet a single person who met DJ who doesn't have really nice things to say about the guy. He just didn't work out. It's fine. It happens. All right, that's enough of that. Texture says, wait, I thought this wasn't a Clemson show. It's not. That's why when we come back, we're going to talk the other program that everybody in the area cares about, the Colorado Buffaloes.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Ohio State because according to Twitter, all I saw was Clemson and Ohio State from everyone from this area.
We got them coming too.
Not everyone, but a good portion.
Here, I'm talking playoff teams today. We're going to get to that in a minute because I've got a question for all of you that I want answered. But I got to get this Dion thing out of the way real quick. So let's hit this Dion speech when we come back. Get your thoughts on that. Then to wrap up this hour, I do have a question for you. The NCAA college football playoffs are supposed to be the best 4 teams in college football, correct? I want you to define me what best means. We'll do that wrapping up the hour, and then we'll talk about those 4 teams, run that through the last hour, get some NFL talks, Jimmy G done for the year. Woof. A couple other big stories we got to get to on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Right back, stream.
Part of you. They care for all of you. And that's why more people prefer Atrium Health. Because unwanted care is easier, more accessible, and more complete than ever before, so that you can enjoy more of the moments you love. That's what it means to live meaningfully, to live joyfully, to live fully with Atrium Health, official healthcare provider of the Carolina Panthers. Brian Burns was named NFC Defensive Player of the Week after his performance against the Broncos last Sunday.
Shotgun snap. Here's the blitz. Russell under pressure. He's hit, and down he goes. Brian Burns, the sack inside the 35 of Denver.
Burns racked up 2 sacks, including a strip sack, as well as a tackle for loss and 3 quarterback hits in the Panthers' victory. Burns now has 10 sacks on the season, the first time he's hit that milestone in his career.
It means a lot, That's all you hear about the double digits as a pass rusher. And I thought it was way overdue. I should have been at that in my second year, but I'm still grateful and blessed to get it done.
He spoke about what that accomplishment meant to him after the game.
It means a lot. It's long overdue. I should have had that my second year, but anyway. But I'm blessed and grateful to have it now. So, hey, it is what it is. Let's keep on stacking. I got 5 more games, so keep going.
The Panthers will travel to Seattle to take on the Seahawks in Week 14.
I mean, everybody's in good spirits right now. You know, going into this week off. You know, the bye week is much needed, but you know, you can still miss playing on Sundays and you get to watch everybody else play.
I'm Kristen Dabo on the Carolina Panthers Radio Network.
I'm Michael Jenkins helping you beat the local SQL. The Hawks managed to win without Trae Young on Friday night, but should have their lead guard back in action this evening. Atlanta is hosting Oklahoma City, and the Hawks have won 3 straight in Atlanta against the Thunder. OKC is
You're right about most of that, Jesse, probably all of it. But what if he comes out and has a bad game against Tennessee? What if he comes out and does all the things that DJ was being criticized for? What if Cade comes out and does those?
With supplies and solutions for every industry, and access to product specialists ready to help. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones.
I thought learning a language would be too much work. Then I discovered Babbel. They make learning fun. Jim, about that.
Babbel's lessons
Exactly, they shouldn't. That's the thing.
quick and easy.
Or Deshaun Watson, for that matter. Yeah, I know.
Okay. I'm making sure.
I'm well aware. You can override me if you want.
I don't care.
I love that there's all kinds of ways to learn. Babbel's podcast, or games, or videos. You can even join live classes with a language teacher.
You learn words and phrases you actually use in real conversations.
In 3 weeks, I was starting to speak in another language. So easy.
If you want to learn a language, there's no faster, easier, better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Sean Ezel entered the mortgage business in 2001 after leaving the Marines. He felt that local veterans and people in the upstate weren't getting the service they deserved when it came to buying a home. That's why he started Palmetto State Home Mortgage. For over 21 years, Sean's philosophy was, and still is, to say yes when others say no. They specialize in FHA, USDA, conventional loans, and 100% financing for VA loans. Find out more about the local veteran-owned mortgage company. Visit PalmettoStateHomeMortgage.com.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, and that can only mean one thing. It's the return of the teddy bear toss with the Greenville Swamp Rabbits on Saturday, December 10th.
Now, right, bootlickers on the podcast. It's such a good day. It really is.
Jeff Martin Auctioneers is hosting the East Coast Public Auction in Pelzer on December 8th, featuring construction and farm equipment, trucks, trailers, and more. Bid your way live on-site or online. JeffMartinAuctioneers.com. Experience the difference. License 42.
Lonzo, please stop by the office later and explain to us why you allowed Rob to say bootlicker on the air.
The Rob Brown Show rolls on. This is the Fan Upstate. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, with you. 844-FAN phone, 844-FAN, phone 844-326-3663 is the number. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Start your text with FAN, F-A-N, FAN, F-A-N. Let me grab audio clip number 2, if you don't mind, please. Great one. Deion Sanders was named the head coach of the Colorado University Buffalo football program. And within a day and a half of being named CU's HC, Neon Deion was up in Boulder, Colorado, prime timing it up with his players. Or should I say, guys who may or may not be his players. Why? Listen to the way that Deion talked to the guys that are already there, already in the program, already worn the logo, and let me hear what your knee-jerk reaction to it is.
We got a few positions already taken care of because I'm bringing my luggage with me. And it's Louis.
Okay. It ain't gonna be no more of the mess that these wonderful fans, the student body, and some of your parents have put up with for probably 2 decades now. I'm coming. And when I get here, it's gonna be changed. So I want y'all to get ready to go ahead and jump in that portal and do whatever you're gonna get. Because the more you jump in, the more room you make. Because we bring kids that are smart, say that, smart, tough. We got a few positions already taken care
All
of.
right,
'cause
that's
I'm
it.
ready to let
I
you
looped it over on accident. That's my bad. You can go ahead and kill it there. Dion said, we got a few positions that are already taken care of because I'm bringing my luggage with me. AKA, I'm bringing dudes from Jackson State University here to Colorado to step into roles on this football team. So y'all do what you need to do to get ready, including step into that portal. Now, I saw a lot of folks on social media talk about how this was a gross take from Dion, right? How are you going to show up to the program that they're already in? How are you going to show up onto a team that they've already played for and tell them that you guys can go ahead and transfer? I don't think he did, right? I think if you look at that and you heard that and your reaction was, ugh, you necessarily did not hear what he said to open that. What he said to open that take was, when I get here, we are not going to continue the same mess that Colorado fans and alumni have been dealing with for decades. Colorado used to be very, very good a long time ago, 3 decades or so ago, but they used to be good. And since then, he hasn't been. It hasn't been. They haven't been, right? They've disappeared as a program. Dion said, when I get here, we ain't doing that no more. We're fixing it. We're cleaning it up. Now, whether or not that turns out to be true, I don't know. There's been a lot of discussions about coaching type, right? And what's my take always been on that? I've heard a lot of guys say, oh, you know, if Brian Harsin was given more time at Auburn, he'd have been successful because he's a hard-nosed coach, old school coach, blue-collar coach, lunch pail to work coach, right? And if you gave him the opportunity to run off the guys that are SAWFT soft, then he'd have got it done. And maybe. But part of the reality of coaching is that whatever style of coaching you adapt, you got to find kids that are receptive to it and kids that are going to perform under it. And Dion's no different than anybody else. Showing up on a campus, the first thing you do is tell the kids in the program, this is my coaching style. If it suits you, stick around, work out, and earn the logo on your helmet. And if it doesn't suit you, then go somewhere else. And that's okay. That's why we have the portal now. If this school, if this regime doesn't fit you, then go find one that does. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So Dion walking into Buffalo, walking into Boulder, where the Buffaloes roam, and saying to them, the mess goes away. I'm here to fix it, and I'm going to be hard-nosed until it's fixed. And if you want to be here, and if you don't, get to stepping. I got no issue with that at all. Not at all.
That's the state of college football today. I mean, you can transfer, but if you do transfer, that means you thought you were part of the problem, right?
For the record, that's always been the way college football is. It's just that now kids have an opportunity to go, wait a minute, this isn't what I signed up for.
This doesn't need to be that argument, but it isn't how it's always been, because in the past you didn't have the option to go somewhere else,
right,
unless you were willing to wait a year. Now you don't have to worry about that. You can just go, you know what? I don't like the shoes he's wearing. I'm going to another school.
Or you can go, this ain't the coach I signed up to play for. This ain't the program I signed up to play for. I'm going to go somewhere else, right?
How many of his players does he actually bring with him?
Well, I do know for a fact already that he's bringing his son and has already named him the starting quarterback. Hasn't even unpacked his bag, hasn't even hung his Atlanta/Dallas/San Francisco jerseys in his office yet, and has already named his son the starting QB.
You got to know.
Which, by the way, ain't a good look.
Well, you got to believe that during negotiations that he told the school, hey, if you bring me in, this is what I'm doing. And
Maybe.
They brought him in anyway.
Maybe. And again.
It's him. I'm sure he came right out and said it. Hey, if I come here, my son's coming and I'm naming him the starter.
For the record, I don't give a damn if he did or he didn't. He's the head coach. If that's the decision he wants to make, he can do it. And he can suffer the consequences, whether it succeeds or fails.
Is his son better than the quarterback that's there right now?
No idea. Does anybody know the name of Colorado's starting quarterback?
That's the whole point.
Right.
And I'm sure the powers that be at Colorado looked at the film and went, yeah, he's better.
Yeah.
Bring him in. In the end, it's a coach's decision anyway.
He said, look, I got some guys. I'm bringing my luggage with me. I got some guys coming with me.
I have no problem with nepotism. It's an awesome thing.
Travis Hunter was one of the top 5 recruits in the country. Remember, he was the guy that was going to go to Florida State, and then Deion took over at Jackson State, and Barstool Sports, who wanted Deion as the head coach at FSU and kind of turned on FSU when they didn't hire him, and allegedly put together a couple of fat NIL deals for that young man to go to Jackson State, and he did. He already said on a social media live post, Coach, I'm coming, right? He's leaving Jackson State to go play his football at Colorado. But that's part of why you hired Deion, right? That's part of why you hired Deion. There are going to be kids, even though the guys playing college football today weren't alive when Deion was doing Deion things at Florida State or in the league. They know Deion. They know who primetime is. And they're going to follow him. And that's part. Colorado is going to have their best recruiting class in 30 years in Deion's first year. Guarantee it. And some kids following him there are part and parcel. I don't have a problem with any of it. And the opposite's true, right? Like if Deion was a Shane Beamer, funny, lovable, hype players coach, and he showed up to Colorado and was like, hey, look. And no coach would ever say this out loud. But if he showed up and he's like, hey, look, if you're here for blue collar, no fun, serious, suit and tie business football, hit the portal because we're going to have some fun up in this B. I'd be like, all right, cool, man. Like Deion's coaching style is one way. He told those kids, this is my approach to your football program. If you want to be here, be here. And if you don't, later. I got no issue with that. None at all. So a lot of people say, oh, that's gross, Deion. I don't think so, man. I think it's just what football is now. It's just where it is. And I don't have a problem with it. That's just me.
Can people now show up to their new job and look at, the new boss shows up, your boss shows up and goes, oh, by the way, I'm your new program director. Hit the portal.
If a new PD showed up tomorrow, Alonzo, and they walked into the Fortress of Nerditude and said, I want all the comic book stuff off the wall and no more professional wrestling on the radio and no comic book on the radio, you're telling me you wouldn't go, I might start looking to spruce up the resume a little bit?
I'm a little closer to retirement than you are. So, I mean, there's that. There's that. I've always wanted to start a garden.
Right. Let's say in this case, you're a 5th-year senior, right? I'm not. I'm a sophomore. I might be like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I'm a 5th-year senior at Colorado. I don't think that means the same. That's somewhere else.
All right, 844-FAN phone, 844-326-3663. Preferred Home Services text line 71307. Start your text with FAN FAM. We'll read them on the air. Texter said, Deion said the same things. Every coach says Dabo and Beamer have advised some of their players to go to the portal, just not on video or social media. Yeah, I think that's the other part, right? I'm sure a lot of coaches have stepped in front of a locker room full of dudes and been like, look, this is the way that it's going to be under me. And if
I
you
have
don't want it to be
spoken.
that way, get gone. Do what?
You said this is the way, and I said I have spoken.
I want to see the portal.
Yes. If I'm an alum or if I'm a fan of that team, I'm perfectly okay with him doing it.
Hell yeah,
if
I'm
I'm
excited.
if I'm a player on that team, I'm a little worried.
I'm not. I mean, look, I'm not. If that is the coaching style I'm looking for, I'm hype. And if it's not, I'm gone.
But there again, it's Deion Sanders coming in. You want to prove yourself to him. You want to remain on that team because you believe that he's a winner and he's going to make you a winner.
And if that is your belief, you are hyped to do it.
Is that your belief? Do you believe he can take that next step at the next level and make this team a winner?
I don't know. I genuinely can say I don't know. I think he did an outstanding job at Jackson State, but I also wonder, did he do an outstanding job at Jackson State because of the fact that he was Deion and he brought in more talent than that school's ever seen, and he was able to just out-athlete a lot of other schools that ordinarily would have had competitive games with them, right? The Travis Hunters of the world weren't going to Jackson State before Deion was there. And will that translate as much? Will that translate as much to a school like Colorado? I don't know is the answer, right? It'll translate, with all due respect, to an HBCU, right? It'll translate to an HBCU because they're not playing routinely week in and week out teams that are showing up with 5-star talent up and down the roster. They're not taking on teams that have that much talent around them. So Deion was able to get the best talent out there and the best talent out there that was available for a school at that level and just out-athlete other schools. Was that because Prime's a great coach? Or was that because Prime had kids who wanted to say, I played for Deion Sanders? When he gets to Colorado, he is not going to be able to recruit a top 5 or top 10 FBS class out of the gate. And he's got USC, Utah, Washington, Oregon State, UCLA. Those are the ranked teams in the Pac-12 right now. You think Deion, by being Deion, is going to be able to bring in better recruiting classes than USC by default? Probably not. He's going to have to coach now. He's going to have to scheme. He's going to have X's and O's to match up with the likes of Lincoln Riley now. Can he do that? I have no idea, and with all due respect, neither does anybody else. Nobody knows yet if Deion's X's and O's are going to match up with Lincoln Riley's. Nobody knows if Deion's X's and O's are going to match up with Kyle Whittingham. Nobody knows if Deion's X's and O's are going to match up with the best minds in the Pac-12. And I can go ahead and tell you right out of the gate, his recruiting classes will not match up early. Not early. He'll get a couple of Travis Hunters. He'll get some kids that are 5-star guys that he can go, hey, who's going to get you ready for the league better and faster than Neon Deion Primetime Sanders? Nobody. And they'll go, that's a good point. I'm in. But is he going to bring in a top-to-bottom class like SC or Oregon? Probably not. Not out of the gate. That being said, if he is going FBS, Alonzo, the Pac-12 is probably the best place to start for him. Despite the fact that they have 6 ranked teams, it's not a great conference. It's good, but it's not great. And they've got the LA market wrapped up, so he can be primetime as well as the head coach of Colorado.
I agree with all that, but at the same time, just a few months ago, we were talking about the Pac-12 probably not existing anymore. Remember?
Yeah, true story. True story.
Has that gone out the window? Are we not worried about super conferences anymore?
Oh, no, it's still happening. It's inevitable. All right, Texter says, Rob, you're exactly right. The last time I paid attention to Colorado football was when Cordell Stewart was at quarterback. What was that, the 90s? Give or take, yeah.
It's been a minute for sure.
Yep. Texas said Dion is using Colorado as a stepping stone. Dion will be in the NFL in 3 or 4 years. I don't think so. I don't think, and here's why. Because, let me phrase that. I'm going to say probably not 3 or 4 years because I think Dion needs to learn how to be a head coach. By head coach, I mean coach. I mean X's and O's. I mean tactics and formations and strategies and techniques and protocols and whatnot. Dion's a hell of a recruiter because he's Deion Sanders. He's a hell of a recruiter because he can lean on primetime. And that's worked out well. But Dion has got to prove to me now that he can X's and O's it up with guys. And this is a test. And if he can do it here, then he starts looking Auburn.
All he's got to do is talk to his Affleck buddy. You might have a tip or two for him.
Hey, Coach, before we don the blue jackets for this Aflac commercial, got any Pac-12 advice for me? All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I have a question for you, ladies and gentlemen, that I want an answer to. The college football playoff is expected to invite the 4 best teams in college football to compete for a national championship. Everybody else is locked out. Here's my question. What's your definition of the word best in that context? Because Alabama fans say if you put them up against TCU, they would be a Vegas betting odds-on favorite right now, and that alone should get them into the college football playoff. Other folks are saying you lost to. The best teams don't lose to. Who's right? What's the definition of the word best? We'll take a look at that when we come back on the Rob Brown Show in the Fan Upstate. Stick around.
Yeah, I saw that too. I'm gonna do the breaking news when we get back. Stop trying to outbreak me, man. So if he comes in and reads it, it won't surprise him, which is part of the fun of breaking news. Although it's another sources, at least what I see so far. So there's that.
Go ahead.
So, according to Ian Rappaport, sources say the Panthers are expected to release quarterback Baker Mayfield. He'll hit waivers when it's finalized later today. And here's my prediction. Baker Mayfield, San Francisco 49er.
Not a bad prediction. Not a bad prediction at all. You might be spot on with that, actually.
Because as soon as I saw Jimmy G go down, I kept thinking, they can't trade Baker.
Nope.
But if they did something, and they had just, they've been talking to San Francisco quite a bit already. That's how McCaffrey ended up there.
Yep.
So there are ties there. Why not? I'm not saying that's going to happen, but it would not shock me at all.
I don't disagree with you. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Be a better, be smarter, and beat the books with our friends at BetQL. Visit the app at BetQL.com.
All right. James says he'd make a great Texan. Yeah, but here's the thing. San Francisco's stuck with Purdy right now.
Brock Purdy.
Yeah. And just watch. Baker's going to end up being in California. Where did he play football at?
I believe he waved the only Baker I recognize is the one who planted the OU flag at midfield.
Yeah, but he had
transferred.
I don't remember where he came from in the first place. But anyway, I think that'd be a good fit. And it would not shock me if Steve Wilkes waves Baker Mayfield.
No, I wouldn't either.
There's something going on there, and it has nothing to do with play.
I don't disagree with you.
And you know what? I cannot wait to talk about this on the Views from Mint Street podcast.
Yep, we'll record an episode later this afternoon. Drop it either tonight or tomorrow morning.
And we're going to wait a little while.
Yeah, because now we got to see what happens here.
Absolutely, we do.
All right, let me play this audio from Nick Saban, and I want y'all's thoughts, and then we'll talk more about it later in the show. Clip 3. Now, this is 2 different clips spliced together. Lonzo, I'm going to warn you in advance, there's a volume change in the middle of it, so you'll need to be ready. Sorry, I tried to do it the best I could in a hurry. Nick Saban pled the case for Alabama to make the playoffs. They did not. But he pled the case for a 2-loss Bama team to get into the playoffs. And I want you to listen to his arguments. He starts with what the team did at the end of the year and then wraps it up with the argument that led to a question that I wanted to ask you guys. And I'll ask it. Here's Nick Saban.
And what I would say to the committee or anyone else is if we played any of these teams that are on the edge or getting in, would we be the underdog or would we be the favorite?
Okay, well, I only recorded 1 clip. I'm bad at my job. What do you want? I did that during the break. But that's the point I wanted to play, all right? Nick Saban said, got to ask you, if we played any of these other teams, would we be the underdog or would we be the favorite? And the question that led me to was this. The NCAA college football playoffs, as we all know, because it gets parroted to us 1,000 times a day during the last 5 weeks of the college football season, are about selecting whom? The best 4 teams. Define the word best for me. Right? Because I think they kind of get off the hook a little bit in never giving objective criteria. And frankly, the reason I bring this up is because I don't think you can, right? I think this is one of those times where a word is used with the intent of keeping the message vague. Define to me what best means in the phrase best 4 teams. Because I think effectively there's 2 ways to look at it. Who is the best team, as in if I played team A versus team B, who would win? And then there's best in terms of if you played these teams and looked at their resumes from week 1 to week 14, who would be the best team? If you asked me who the best team is, Alabama or TCU, I will tell you right now, I think Alabama beats TCU. I think Alabama is a better football team than TCU is right now. But who was more impressive from the start of the finish to the season? I argue TCU, right? Bama lost to LSU, who at the time was a top 5 team in America. But then they went and choked on the road at A&M, and that made it look bad. They lost to Tennessee, who at the time was a top 2 or 3 team in America. But then they lost, with all due respect, to the Gamecocks of South Carolina. That didn't look good either. TCU didn't lose to nobody until their conference championship game, where they got beat. But they beat a handful of ranked teams in the process to get there. And then they actually played for a conference championship, whereas Alabama watched from the couch this past Saturday. Define best for me in the sentence, the best 4 teams. The reason I bring this up is because none of you are going to have an answer that is going to satisfy everybody else. That's why every time we have this conversation, in fact, I had a conversation Saturday night at the Greenville Swamp Rabbits game, right? I got talking to a group of fans. They were like, Rob, who's in, right? We were watching the Swamp Rabbits play. The ACC championship game was on at the same time. They're like, Rob, who's in? I gave them my 4, which is exactly the 4 that got in. And they're like, do you think Bama's better than TCU? My answer was, I do. But I weigh the entire season from start to finish. I weigh the entire resume from start to finish. And from start to finish, TCU accomplished more and did more. That's why they're getting in, and they did. This is why I'm happy with the 12-team expansion. Because now we would get to see Bama versus TCU if they were 2 of the best 4 teams. Now we would get that matchup, and that question doesn't have to be a hypothetical or theoretical anymore. We're going to get the answer. Warner, I'll see you on the line. Hold it for me. I'll get to you coming out of the break. Everybody else line up. 844-FAN, phone 844-326-3663. Define for me the word best in the context of the best 4 teams. Air quotes. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
So a bunch of the experts are now saying Baker to San Francisco.
Yeah, I think that's the one that makes sense. Watch him go there and tear it up. Be hilarious.
I hope so.
Watch Baker and McCaffrey both go to the Pro Bowl.
Well, I mean, San Francisco won despite having Purdy in there.
Yep.
Who actually played pretty well. So also at the same time, what does it mean that if you're Baker, you're on waivers, and San Francisco decides to stay with Brock Purdy?
That you should enjoy your retirement.
Time to go in acting. You did pretty good in those commercials. You do a bit part on some shows like, I don't know, one of the NCISs.
He's going to do a hilarious job hosting SNL.
Maybe he'll have time to legitimately have a book club.
Susan.
We are CBS Sports Radio, and our Twitter handle is CBS
Sports Radio.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different how? Sell not commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, James, if I owe Brock Purdy a apology, eventually I will give it to him.
We'll attach it to my apology to Marcus Mariota.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our
Wow.
priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why.
Hey, Karen's back.
Switch to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involved in this most.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout. Here's my card.
I don't know what you're talking about, Jesse. Rob has never been angry a day in his life.
Mm-mm. I'm incapable of anger. I am a teddy bear.
If you look up passive in the dictionary, there's a picture of Rob
I actually wish that that wasn't true.
smiling.
I wish that that wasn't true, but it is.
Yeah, I did one of those stories Saturday, James, and then I heard Tara talking about this morning about this dude named Brad who decided to rob the Walmart or steal at the Walmart during Coppa Shop.
Coppa Shop?
A bunch of cops were there shopping for children.
And that's when he decided to make his move.
Yeah. And I was joking Saturday. He's also known as Meth Brad. And then the story later on came out that he was caught with meth paraphernalia, because that's the only reason why you do that. If you look around and see a bunch of cops, although Matthew pointed out that maybe he was trying to play on hard mode. I was like, no, this would be legendary mode.
My man was looking for 6 stars
Yeah.
just to see if he could get away with it.
Yeah, that's legendary mode when you go in there with all those police and come out with stuff in your pocket.
When I worked for my old station down in Destin, I was in charge of recording our daily news update every morning. And my old producer and I, Adam, my mentor in the game, used to love that almost without fail. And I attribute this to living in Florida. Almost without fail, you could find a story in our local news every day that involved a robbery where somebody tried to get away with it by shoving the merch down their front of their pants. And the cops at one point, I had a conversation with the public information director of the Okaloosa County Sheriff's Office at the time, Michelle, who told me that, a bunch of the guys were fans of my show. And they got to the point where they started to more frequently distribute police reports if they involved robbery by pants, because they knew I would read every one of them on the air.
Oh, when I did Night Stock, we were security. And you could go up on a catwalk and you could see guys shoving whole steaks down their pants.
I'm sure.
And there are these holes down above the meat department. You just watch them. It's like, dude.
The fight of the best of money hour of the Rob Brown Show goes now. This is the Fan Upstate. Rob Brown, the great one, Lonzo, with you today. 844-FAN, phone 844-326-3663 is the number. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line. It's 71307. Nick Saban gave his argument on Sunday about why the Alabama Crimson Tide should be in the 14 playoff this year. Didn't work. Committee showed him the door. But he said, and he leaned on, hey, if you lined us up against any of the teams that are on the verge of getting in, are we the underdogs or are we the favorites? And it led to an interesting question in my brain, which is, we do not have, and frankly, I don't think can have, a set of objective, defined, empirical protocols to define the word best in that sentence. The playoffs are supposed to allow the best 4 teams in college football to compete for a title. And so after Saban's comments, my thoughts were, can you define best for me? Can you define what the best means? Does the best mean that if you played them against each other, one team is definitely the team that would win? Does the best mean the team that would be the favorite in Vegas? Does the best mean the team that had the best resume from start to finish and accomplished more? What does best mean? Because I have hinged many arguments on a team with an even record or an equal number of losses, but one played for a conference title and one did not. One of those 2 teams was better. It's a team that got into the conference title game, even if that's the only game they lost, right? I absolutely think Alabama would beat TCU if they played each other. But I hang a lot on who is best from week 1 to week 14. Resume matters to me. Can you define best? Because very clearly to Nick Saban, best is whatever definition you need to use to put Alabama in the playoffs. That's what best means to him. But he's a head coach. Of course it does. Can you define that for me? I don't think anybody can. Warner is hanging on the line, kind enough to hang through the break. Let's get him a few minutes here on the show. Warner, welcome back, big fella. Good to have you.
Thank you. Saban says in interviews that he doesn't do hypotheticals, but saying that he's the best is purely hypothetical. It should be performance, the best performance during the season. The most wins head-to-head or the most points against common opponents, that's solid. Everything else is hypothetical.
First off, Warner, the people who hypothetical the hardest are the ones that say that they don't do hypotheticals. We'll start with that. Nick Saban is chief of that particular tribe. I've heard Nick Saban doing hypotheticals his entire career. That being said, I honestly, Warner, don't have an issue with what Nick Saban said because his job is to get Bama in the playoffs, and he was making the only argument that was available for him to do it. I'm a resume guy, right? Yes, I think Bama is a better team than TCU in a one-game scenario. But to me, the question is the best throughout the course of the college football season, and TCU was one of those teams, in my opinion.
Yeah, they only lost yesterday or day before yesterday. Alabama lost twice.
Yeah, that's it. Warner, I appreciate it, man. Great to have you on the show. Thanks for checking in, buddy. Yeah, it's real simple to me, man. It's real simple. But I also understand that word best can be very vague and probably is intentionally very vague, right? I would almost be willing to guess that the majority of people sitting in that committee room on Saturday and Sunday trying to figure out who's in and who's out, they probably each have a definition that is different than all the rest about what the word best means in the context of the 4 best teams. TCU had fewer losses in more games than Alabama. Did Alabama have a tougher resume to run through? Sure they did. And there's a pro con, right? The pro con for Clemson and running through the ACC has been, and remains that you have an easier path to get to 12-0, 11-1 in a conference championship. The con is that a weight of an L is heavier than it is for an Alabama. For Alabama, it's the opposite. You have a more difficult conference to play through. The con of that is that it is going to be harder to get to 12-0 or 11-1 in a conference championship. The pro of that is that if other conference champions share the amount of losses, you will get the nod. That is why we have had a couple of playoffs that have had 2 SEC teams in, including SEC championship game rematches in the past. You know, Georgia, Alabama, for instance. You know, Zoe, you are supposed to get some of that soda in your mouth. It's kind of the objective.
It's in my eye now.
I see that.
That was interesting. It just went straight up, and yeah, I
sure did.
And you could have seen it live on the stream.
Facebook.com/TheFanUpstate, Twitter.com/TheFanUpstate, or search and subscribe to The Rob Brown Show on Twitch.
I will tell you that Diet Dr. Pepper straight up in your eye, it hurts.
A little bit of burn?
Yeah, a little bit.
You know, 23 flavors right there in the retina. All right. So, what's your definition of the word best here? Zoe, did the playoff get the 4 best teams, in your opinion?
Someone had to be 4. And if you look at it from the standpoint, Ohio State was number 2 the entire season. If there's such a thing as the best loss, they had the best loss. I mean, I don't think there is such a thing, but apparently there is, because people talk about it. So they lost the last game of the season to their rival. It was a really close game, and you know, I heard Reese Davis talking to the committee guy. I can't remember the guy's name. It was weird about this, and he asked him what about it, and he said that Ohio State was ranked as high as they were the entire time, and they were in that game till the fourth quarter, which they were. It looks like a complete blowout. It was not a complete blowout. Yeah, they lost by as much as they lost by in the fourth quarter. And so should it have been Alabama in there? No, they have 2 losses. You're not going to put in a 2-loss team. A 2-loss team's never been in there. They're not going to do that.
By the way, if you were going to put in a 2-loss team, Tennessee's right there.
Yeah.
You know, the team that beat Alabama.
But Tennessee also let South Carolina put 63 points up on them.
Sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, there are a lot of, you can look at pros and cons everywhere, but it came down to Ohio State losing to Michigan was a better loss than the losses of the other teams.
I think that you can make the argument. Okay, Alabama lost to Tennessee.
And you know a team,
Carolina.
a team that Alabama probably wouldn't have been favored over. That would be Ohio State.
I'd probably agree with that. I'd probably say Ohio State minus.
It would have been close.
1.5.
It would have been really close, but they would not have been favored over them. Would they have been favored over TCU? Absolutely. And some of the other teams that he was talking about, yeah, they would have. But you lost 2 games, so shut up, I guess.
Texas says best is the last one standing in a fight. The best in the college football playoff is the 4 teams that look good and are politically correct to not upset people. That's from Cocky for a reason. What do you mean by that?
There's always going to be someone upset about things. But again, the 12-team playoff is going to shut a lot of people up about the things that they're complaining about now. And by the way, for those of you on the stream talking about Baker Mayfield, we already broke that in the last hour. So,
and we will get back to that in the Views from Industry podcast, which we will record this afternoon after that does or does not become official.
You know, and I said this on Twitter, and I stand by it. If Ohio State should not be in there, who should? And should they have said no, committee? I'm sorry. According to all these fans out here, we're not supposed to be in here. So you need to pick another team. I'm sorry. We're just not. We're declining your offer. Thank you, though. We appreciate it, but we don't deserve it. Is that what they're supposed to say?
I got nothing.
I mean, you know, And should I not root for my team that's in there because they're in there? Should I say, you know what? You don't deserve to play for it. So you know what? I'm just going to put my stuff away and I'll start watching again next year. No, come on. I mean, and they're playing down the road, and I got to think about how much money am I willing to spend to actually go down the road to watch them play.
If we were 12-team playoff right now, Georgia's in obviously as the top ranked of the conference champions. Michigan would be in as a conference champion. TCU would be in by way of being one of the top 6 ranked teams that's not a conference champion. Ohio State would be in by way of one of the top 6 teams that's not a conference champion. Alabama would be the 3rd team in that's not a conference champion. Tennessee, the 4th team in that's not a conference champion. Clemson would be in as the 3rd conference champion. Utah in as the 4th conference champion. Kansas State in as the 5th conference champion. USC in as the 5th non-conference champion. Penn State in as the 6th non-conference champion. And then the next conference champion down is, I don't even know, but they'd be in. That'd be your 6th. That'd be your 12th as it stands right now. So this argument would be solved, right? Nick Saban wouldn't have to be out here saying foolish things.
It would be solved.
Beg his way in.
It would be solved for the most part. But there are whiners on the air and off the air who will find some flaw to it. Yeah, but what about this? And it's like, think the whole thing through before
well,
you.
Look,
come on.
You would have, for instance, a 10-2 Washington team that would be just left out. They would have an argument there. Actually, honestly, Zoe, I'm looking at this. I actually think 12 teams this year. I don't think there would be an argument, right? I don't think there would be, because you would wrap it up with Kansas State as the lowest ranked conference champion at 10-3. You would have USC at 11-2 squeaking in as the 6th non-conference championship. And after that, who are you leaving out? Washington, who, by the way, did not play for a conference championship and USC did. I don't think that argument holds water. Florida State at 9-3. I can't put an FSU team in at 9-3. FSU's on the upswing, but they're not there yet. Oregon State, Oregon, both 9-3. I can't put them in. Tulane would be in. Tulane would be in as a conference champion at 11-2, Zoe. So there's your mid-major. There's your middle tier team that would get in at the very bottom, and that'd wrap it up. I don't think that 9-3 FSU, 9-3 Oregon State, 9-3 Oregon, 9-4 LSU, 9-3 UCLA, 8-4 South Carolina. None of those teams would have an argument, right? So I think it's great. Texas says Bama was favored in every game this year and they lost 2 games. That's a great point. I'd have loved for one of the hosts to counter back with that. Yeah, Coach, you were also favored against LSU and Tennessee. How'd that work? Texas said FSU at this point of the season is better than any 2-loss team. FSU would not beat Alabama. FSU would fight with Tennessee with Hendon Hooker. I think FSU could beat Tennessee without Hendon Hooker. FSU already lost to Clemson, and everybody else has 3 losses. So maybe. I don't understand what's relevant about that to this conversation, but I get it. Let's see. Texas says Ohio State will get beat by 3 scores against Georgia.
We'll see. Did you think that before they lost to Michigan? I'm just curious. I think we both picked Ohio State, but said that it could be game. But keep in mind. I mean, before Ohio State lost to Michigan, if they beat Michigan, and they were playing Georgia. You're probably a Georgia fan. You would have said that anyway. So
maybe.
I'm talking about the texter. They would have said that anyway. We'll see. I will tell you, it is the more compelling matchup of the 2 games because TCU is going to get destroyed by Michigan.
Michigan's going to beat TCU by 17 points.
You know that 4th team that usually doesn't belong in the playoff? It's TCU, more than likely.
Listen, I think TCU deserves more respect than they're getting.
Are they better than Cincinnati?
Keep in mind.
Are they better than Cincinnati was when Cincinnati was in there?
Yes.
Are they?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, they are. They absolutely are. Michigan, a very good team that beat Ohio State, is also not going to have Blake Corum available in the playoffs. That knocks them down a peg, though. That absolutely knocks them down a peg. In fact, I would say that I'll go on the limb. TCU has more of a shot against Michigan than Ohio State does against Georgia.
No way. There's no way. TCU does not belong in this playoff.
I will give you,
because there's rarely two competitive games when it comes to the playoff. And I don't think the Ohio State Georgia game is going to be a blowout either way.
Would anybody be willing to? You can text your answer to 71307. Yes or no? Would anybody be willing to take a final score spread bet? That is to say, would anybody be willing to bet that TCU is closer to Michigan than Ohio State is to Georgia? I might take that bet. I'm not saying I am. I'm saying I'm thinking about it. Would anybody be willing to take a bet that TCU will have a closer final score line to Michigan than Ohio State will to Georgia? Anybody want that bet?
How dare you? I'm just so offended. You don't know anything about football. Why are you even on the radio right now? I'm just changing my channel.
Call me a bootlicker. Get it over with.
No, because you liquor. It's going to be in my head all day.
I'm not mad about it. With the French toast. Oh, it's so good. Texas said Tulane would be the 6. Yep. Caught that. AAC champs. Roll wave. Texas said talk a bit more about USC, who lost 2 games, but to the same team. Are they better than Bama's losses? Bama's loss, I would say no if LSU didn't lose to A&M. If LSU didn't lose to A&M, then I would say no.
People are taking you up on that bet, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah.
Texas says Clemson is the best team, and since everyone hates them, especially Rob, they made sure to keep him out. You got it. I actually called the committee. And I was like, guys, I hate Clemson. Hate them. And I want you to keep them out. And the reason I want you to keep them out.
You know what you just did? That other show will clip that, and they'll just use that part right there.
That's all right.
According to sources, Rob Brown hates Clemson.
We have a direct quote. I called the committee. I was like, do me a favor, keep Clemson out. And here's the reason. If you send them to the college football playoff, there will be a bar around the area that will want to book me to do a live remote around that game. And I don't want to make more money. And if you let Clemson in, I will have my arm twisted and be forced to work and make more money. And I don't want to do that. I make enough money as it is. I'm already rich as hell and I don't need more. So don't let Clemson in because I don't want to have to work and make more money. So keep them out. And the committee was like, oh, yeah, you got it, Rob. You got it. We got you covered. Texter said, tuned in late today. Is TCU the first to lose a game and not fall a spot in the top 10? I believe they are the first this season. Yes. I believe they are the first this season. But my question would be, where do you move them? Do you move that? Because there's really nowhere for them. There's nowhere for them to go down to, right? The only spot that you can move them down to would be 4. But do you put a 12-1 TCU team that played for a conference champion behind an 11-1 Ohio State team that did not and also got blown out in their one loss? I don't think you can, right? This is what I've said for a while. Just because the loss is later doesn't make it worse. Just because the loss is later in the season, it doesn't make it a by default worse loss. Where would you have moved TCU down to? Texas says NFL breaking news: Panthers to release Baker. Yep. Views from Mint Street podcast dropping this afternoon or evening. Make sure you are subscribed to the Views from Mint Street podcast wherever major podcasts are found, including on the Odyssey app. Lonzo and I will go into discussion about that.
All right. So Rashad is demanding an apology from us on Twitter.
Of course he is. Of course he is. Can't wait to have Rashad on Thursday. All right. Texture says, Clemson gets what they deserve by keeping Klubnik on the sidelines. It's their own fault. Like I said, it is easy. It is easy to diagnose this a week and 2 days later. But Dabo made a mistake by not putting Klubnik on the field against the Gamecocks. I cannot definitively say that putting Cade Klubnik on the field would have changed the outcome of the game. I cannot definitively say that Dabo playing Cade Klubnik would have won them that game. But what I can say is not playing Cade Klubnik, they lost the football game. It was a mistake. It was a mistake that I don't know that he could have possibly known that he was making, but it was a mistake. And he made the mistake, and now he's got to live with that mistake, because if they won that game, they would be in the playoffs today. A one-loss ACC champion would be number 4 ahead of Ohio State and maybe number 3 ahead of TCU.
All right. I don't want to hit the breaking news sounder again because it's awesome. And, according to Joe Person, Baker Mayfield requested his release and Panthers agreed to it per league sources.
What up? You went to Sam Darnold.
He's like, who got hurt? Oh, I need to be out of here.
Yeah.
I need to be out of here.
You went to Sammy D. It wasn't going to work. Lonzo and I have both theorized that if Sam sucked, PJ would get another check when he came back from his high ankle sprain. Baker was QB3 by default, and San Francisco needs a starter now. So, yeah, it made perfect sense.
By the way, it hasn't been confirmed that he's going to San Francisco, but
he's going to
San Francisco.
Yeah.
I mean,
All right, fan, let's make a bet, Lonzo. If Georgia wins, you've got to officially change Clemson redneck voice to a Georgia redneck voice.
It's a totally different kind of voice, though. It is. I have to work on my – I'll just watch some Jimmy Carter videos, and then I'll be ready to go.
All right, let's take a break. Got your playoff rankings. You got your matchups. Does anybody want to bet that TCU will be closer to Michigan than Ohio State will be to Georgia? Give me your thoughts on the text line, 71307. When we come back, the USA bounced from the World Cup, but we host the next one in 2026. Do we have a prayer? I got some thoughts for you. I'll deliver them when we return on the Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Juicy.
Right back stream, got a live read, and then we are on. We'll be back. All right, we back.
You know, I assumed that was Rashad that was saying that, but it could have been.
No, it was Rashad. Rashad runs that account.
Sure, David has access also. The question is, will Baker Mayfield be picked up by San Francisco before we do the podcast?
It's almost kind of what I'm waiting for.
I hope so. Because if he goes there and then they immediately go downhill.
I know, right?
The CMC there going, no, you don't want to do this. Or is he going, yeah, bring him in. Come on. He's out there. Or did he give him a phone call? I'm not beholden to a conference, Roger. Whoever was meant to win, the year they win, they were meant to win. Where do you find these GIF meme thingies that you always posted?
GIF memes.
I still have never posted one. So, and that's
catch you up, Grandpa.
No, I don't want to. I dare to be different.
Texture said, so was the U.S. men's soccer team not making open players in the box on purpose or because they were hot garbage on defense? Not marking open players in the box on purpose was a massive mistake, and it cost them. All right? But it wasn't the only mistake that cost them. The mistake that cost them was the fact that they never found somebody who could put the ball in the net. Just like I said, going into this tournament would be our undoing, and it was. We had chances against the Netherlands, right? If Pulisic sticks that opening few minutes opportunity into the back of the net, that game has an entirely different complexion to it.
He had a groin contusion. Give him a break.
It's not Christian Pulisic's fault. But it is still true that had that ball gone in the back of the net or any other of the opportunities that we missed, that it would have been a different game, right? Because after the Dutch scored the opening goal in the, 10th, 11th minute, whatever it was, the complexion of that game changed entirely. At that point, the Netherlands were happy to stretch the field. There were some bright spots for the Americans. The midfield of the game was exceptional. The guys that were playing around the midfield line were playing exceptionally well. But when the Americans got the ball into the attacking third, they were toothless. And when the Dutch got the ball into their attacking third, the defense was once again broken down. Now, that team was flat. And it happens. You played an insanely emotional game against Iran. Everything on the line in a must-win competition, and you figured out a way to get it done, including a final 20 minutes that had most American soccer fans puckered up tight. A lot of teams play that emotional of a game and then come out flat in the next one because you are just gassed. It happens. But it can at that level. At that level, coming out flat in the knockout round will get you sent home. The other thing was that had you finished off Wales and had you found one against England when you had an opportunity, you know who we would have played in the opening round of the knockout phase? Senegal. A game we would have won and moved into the round of 8 and felt a lot better about ourselves. A lot better about ourselves. So the question now is, does Greg Berhalter gotta go? And now that I've had a little bit of time to put this in the rearview mirror, my answer is, yeah, I think so. And here's why. There's two elements to being a good coach, and I don't care at what level you're at or what sport you're playing. Part one is roster construction, and part two is coaching. X's and O's, tactics, strategies, formations, schemes, whatever you want to call it. Greg Berhalter's roster construction wasn't awful. At the end of the day, Berhalter can only do so much if there's not a striker lined up that can show up and put the ball in the net. The midfield construction was as good as it could have been asked to be. The backline construction was, I think, as good as it could be. We just don't have a lot of great defensive players that you can stick back there, say, build a wall in front of the goal and trust them to do it. And even though, because somebody's already typing out the message, wait a minute, Rob, we only conceded one goal in group play and it was a PK, which is true. It wasn't bad. It just, against the Dutch, a team that had a really good front three, they were just able to go where they wanted to go, be creative, and finish us, right? And that's the problem. Here's the other problem. Tactically speaking, we hurt ourselves against Wales, we hurt ourselves against Iran, and we hurt ourselves against England. Fortunately, against England, we weren't penalized for it. We were penalized against Wales in giving up the PK to Gareth Bale that tied the game, kept us at 1 point instead of 3, and made the Iran game a must-win instead of a game where a draw would have been good enough, or perhaps a game in which maybe if we'd have got it done against England as well, the result would have been, kind of a whatever. We're in either way. We can go play for a win, but if we don't, whatever. We can just attack and see what happens. But against Wales, 70% of the game we controlled possession, and then for whatever reason, in the last 20, we just decided to make defensive substitutions, park the bus, and see what happened. What happened was they got the goal back. We went level and got a point instead of 3. Against England, we actually played pretty good football until late. We didn't. We're playing for a draw at that point. And then that set up a situation against Iran where we had to win. And we penalized ourselves in that game, not because we didn't win. We obviously did. But we penalized ourselves in that game because in having to play for a win, we flat out exhausted ourselves so that by the time the game rolled around a few days later against the Netherlands in the opening round of knockout play, we were flat. We were emotionally spent and flat, and it translated onto the field. And in translating out onto the field, we ended up playing exactly the game the Dutch wanted to play. They got their early goal. They stretched the field. They were more than happy to let us have possession because they knew that we were going to continue to try to force the ball out wide. We weren't going to take shots unless those shots were point-blank range, and scoring was going to be insanely difficult for us. Greg Berhalter did a pretty good job at roster construction. There were a couple of things I didn't love, but a lot of it, as has been argued many times, was chemistry-based. You left home some guys like Ricardo Pepi that maybe would have been the striker that busted out, but there was no definitive proof that they would have. And so you brought a couple of guys who were vets, who have been here before, who have done it, so that they could kind of lead the third youngest team in the World Cup with veteran knowledge to get them ready. At the end of the day, that didn't matter. There's no way Berhalter could have known it would have or would not have mattered, but it didn't matter. So we got nowhere with it. And with that being said, Greg Berhalter's tactics throughout this World Cup were bad. And as a lot of coaches will tell you, You can give an average manager the best roster of any team in any league. And if they're not a great coach, you're going to lose to good teams. You can't out-athlete everybody. We can't out-athlete the Dutch. They are level with us in terms of talent. You can't out-athlete them. Man, I was on a roll, too.
I got to do this because it is breaking. All right. The Carolina Panthers have officially
There you go.
released Baker Mayfield. Yes.
Views from Mint Street coming up later today. We'll break all that down for you.
Hopefully about 11:52, I'll be able to hit it again and say Baker Mayfield is now officially a San Francisco 49er.
We're going to put off recording Views from Mint Street until a little later this afternoon to let that story finish up. All right. So here's the thing. Here's where I stand with Berhalter. I'm not mad about roster construction. I'm even a little bit grateful because Greg Berhalter has brought the next generation of American soccer players into the World Cup stage, right? We survived the group stage. That was the goal. We won a game at group stage. That was the goal. We made it to the knockout round and looked competitive for a little while. That was the goal. Berhalter did a great job of taking the Gio Reynas of the world, the Weston McKennies of the world, the Christian Pulisic's of the world, and turning them into a competent soccer group. The problem, in my opinion, is that Greg Berhalter does not understand how to tactically work a game in order to compete with anybody who's ranked above number 12 in the world. CONCACAF was a disaster at the World Cup. They played 13 games. They won 3. They drew a bunch and they lost a few. We should be dominating CONCACAF. I got mad at Stephen A. Smith the other day because he's like, oh, we're America. We should dominate soccer. It's like, no, not really, dude. That's not how soccer works. Taylor Twelman told him to his face. That's not how soccer works, man. It's just not where we are. But we should dominate CONCACAF. It should be us versus Mexico every year. And that's it. Canada's risen. Maybe Canada throws their name in the ring every now and then. But it should be US v Mexico and CONCACAF for superiority every year. And under Berhalter, we've had some trophies. We've had some wins. But we have not been dominant in a region that was not great at the World Cup. We don't have to qualify for 26 because we're hosting it. That's great. We've got a roster that I think is good enough to compete. Not win, but compete with FIFA ranking number 8, the Netherlands. We didn't compete. We competed for about 12 minutes, and then they ran away with us. Berhalter's tactics did not work. They do not work. They have not worked. They will not work. I appreciate what Berhalter has done. I don't hate Greg Berhalter like a lot of American sports fans do. I don't think he's bad by any stretch of the imagination. I don't think he's bad at all. I just don't think he's good. I think he's a very mid coach. Right down the middle. Good roster formation. A decent approach. But does not know how to take advantage of strengths and weaknesses in big-time play. We need somebody in there who is not going to kowtow to the MLS. It is going to take the U.S. Soccer Federation not demanding that our international team kowtow and prop up the MLS. MLS needs to prop up itself and benefit from doing that. But tactically speaking, Greg Berhalter got outmanaged in this tournament. Is it good enough to win when we host? Frankly, no. Not with what we saw from this one. The good news is U.S. Soccer will have this group in its prime in 4 years. The majority of the guys that were the crux of this team this year will all be 25, 26, 27, 28 when we host the World Cup in 4 years. Pulisic, Reyna, McKennie, all these guys are going to be in their late mid-20s, in their prime. There will be no excuse not to make a statement when we host the World Cup in 4 years. But I think tactically, Greg Berhalter will hold us back. That's what happened in this World Cup, and I'm terrified it's what will happen again in the next one. And if we host the World Cup and don't take full advantage, if we host the World Cup and don't put forward our best performance in that tournament ever, it will be a massive loss to whatever momentum U.S. soccer builds between now and 2026. Let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show next. The great when Lonzo's at the board, my co-host and executive producer. I am Rob Brown, and you're listening to The Rob Brown Show on the Fan Upstate.
Oregon and Utah.
Clemson, after capturing another ACC title with a 39-10 win over North Carolina and Charlotte on their way to the Orange Bowl to face Tennessee. The Tigers finishing 7th in the final playoff rankings, just behind the Volunteers. 19th-ranked South Carolina will face number 21 Notre Dame in the tax later.
You think you can tell if someone's a Harry Potter fan or not by how they say wizard?
Wizard, Harry.
Because I think the way this dude just said wizard sound like he's a Harry Potter fan. Ooh, is that an Optimus Prime head? Do I want to buy an Optimus Prime head?
The question is not do you want to, Lonzo. The question is, can you afford to?
Yeah, I'm clicking on it just because it's GameStop. We'll see what it is. It's only $36.89. How big is it? It's actually Soundwave. It's not Optimus. It's a helmet replica. How big is it? It was normally $129. It's down to $36.89. That's wait a minute. They've got other.
Lonzo, you can't afford not to buy it.
They've got other helmets over there. Are these all him? I think they're all him. Then they show someone holding it. Now I don't know. That might be a really small person to make the helmet look big, but it looks pretty big.
All right, let's see what we got here. My man Ryan Poppenby did his job, but now it is time to go so we can improve and go further in the next World Cup. He was fine. Thank you for your time, but we need to get better. Yeah, that's it. That's it, Ryan. That's exactly where I stand. I think he did a fine job at developing the next generation of soccer players wearing the crest. I appreciate that effort, but he is not good enough as a manager to compete in the top levels of international play. And that is where we need to be. We need to be taking the steps forward in terms of international competitiveness. And I just don't think we're going to do that under Greg. I think thank you for your time. We wish you the best in your future endeavors is where we are now. And one of the other things you got to keep in mind, Steven said 500 million. I think the U.S. population is 320 million. It may have grown a little bit, but I get your point. Versus 17 million from the Netherlands, and that was the best team we could put on the field. Sorry, not good enough. There's a couple of arguments against that, Steven. First and foremost, keep in mind that most European countries have the focus on soccer that we have on football, right? That's what you grow up doing if you come from these countries. We don't do that, right? I'm not one of the guys that makes the argument like, could you imagine LeBron James as a goalkeeper? I think it would be amazing to watch. I think it'd be amazing to find out.
Why would he be goalkeeper?
Because he's 6'7" and can jump out of a gym, right? But could you imagine a striker at 6'7" who could hop like LeBron?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I mean, regardless of who you put there, sure. But soccer is the at best 5th most popular sport in this country. It is a sport that has a stigma on it that we tell kids who want to grow up and play it, oh, that's not a sport real men play, and it hampers us still. That being said, there's enough talent on this roster, Steve, and to me, the talent wasn't the issue. We have the talent on the field, despite it being young, to be more competitive, not necessarily win a World Cup, but to be much more competitive in a World Cup, and I think we missed that opportunity. All right, a couple of comments before we get out of here. My man Ryan popped into the Facebook chat. He said, Greg did his job, but it's time to go so we can improve and go further in the next World Cup. He was fine. Thank you for your time, but we need to get better. That's it. I think he did a great job of developing. You know what he is? He's a college football head coach who is excellent at recruiting, but then takes great recruiting classes and turns in Orange Bowl performances, right? Consistent Orange Bowl. Never makes the playoffs, just consistently in a New Year's Day bowl or an NYE 6 bowl, but never makes the playoff, even though he's got top 5, top 10 recruiting classes every year. Now you got to find somebody who can take that talent and translate it to cups, because Berhalter ain't it, unfortunately. It is what it is. Dadgummit, I had 6 more seconds, Lonzo.
You could have did it.
I had
but,
6 more seconds.
You know, you were struggling. So I was
Story of my life.
I was trying to say, but you ended the show the way you started it, though. So
hostile,
stinking boot lickers. The first thing that is trending on Twitter trending topics is
my chair. Why can't it stop moving? Sorry, that's not trending.
It's and I don't know why this is trending, because Rob knows everything. Deuteronomy is trending.
Deuteronomy is an interesting book in that it's got a lot of rules in it, and some of them are relatively interesting. And sometimes people like to go dig through those rules.
I just I saw it was trending, and I wanted to say Deuteronomy on the air, and now I have. Something else I want to say on the air, maybe for the last time.
Go ahead.
Brock Purdy is trending.
No.
You want me to say Lant Liquor?
No.
No. Oh, what?
I thought you were going to yell Baker one last
time.
time.
No.
R.I.P. Baker.
Not yet. So Brock Purdy is trending.
Brock Purdy.
Purdy.
Got a Purdy mouth.
I want to say that around here. Them banjos are tuning up.
Ding, 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 ding. So Baker Mayfield is officially waived by the Panthers of Carolina, and the majority of us seem to think that Baker is likely headed to San Francisco to join former temporary teammate Christian McCaffrey as a member of the 49ers. But, of course, after Jimmy G got his foot all busted up yesterday, the Niners had Brock Purdy step in, who, by the way, played well enough to beat the Miami Dolphins. Of course, Tua went back to bad Tua yesterday, so that didn't help any.
Well, the San Francisco defense caused them to look like, but yeah, they are really good.
They're good. San Francisco's defense is
and
Super Bowl
CMC
caliber.
Scored a touchdown. So, I mean, pass from Brock Purdy.
Tell you what happened yesterday. I took a 3-leg parlay bet, Lonzo. I had McCaffrey to score a touchdown. It hit. I had Tua to throw a pick. It hit. And I had Zion Williamson, 36.5 combined points, assists, and blocks. He had to get 36 points, assists, and blocks combined. The McCaffrey touchdown hit. The Tua INT hit. I had Zion plus 36.5. He got to 35, and then they pulled him because they were beating the hell out of Denver. If it would have been a close game against Denver, Zion would have hit, but they pulled him with 2 minutes left to play, and I needed one more bucket, and my 3-leg parlay hits.
Got messed over by your boy. It wasn't even his fault.
But we also won by 22 against Nikolai Jokic, so I'm not upset about it.
There you go. We got time for one more. The last thing that's trending is Loki.
I have no idea why, and I want to hear you explain it to me.
I believe it's trending because Disney Plus prices are going up.
Again? Didn't they go up like 6 months ago?
They're struggling a little bit.
Why?
Because people are not buying subscriptions, and they're paying a lot of money on shows like Loki and things like that.
I mean, I get it. Like let's be real, we signed up for Marvel, right? And it was nice to have the Star Wars stuff too.
Yeah.
Andor I thought was good, but it didn't hit like the Mandalorian did.
Yeah, I made it like an episode and a half. And
I love Andor.
There's plenty.
Just started it.
There's a lot of other stuff to watch.
I love Andor. I just started it. It's very good.
You know they all die, right?
Oh well, now I don't want to watch it.
No. That guy who you're really into, that dude, the star of the show, he dies on a beach.
And that's bad.
Doesn't even kiss the girl.
That's bad.
Doesn't even kiss. You're dying on the beach. Don't even kiss the girl. Yes.
That's it for us, ladies
I am
and gentlemen.
one with the Force. The Force is one with me.
Thank you for listening. We appreciate you getting on board. We'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again for the playoff breakdown and more. Jim Rome's up next to take you into the jungle. Mark and Diesel go offsides at 3, and we will see you back here tomorrow at 9 on the Rob Brown Show and the Fan Upstate later, brother. My bad.
I was a participant in that also, so I can blame myself also.
All right, stream, we appreciate you guys very much. Thank you for watching and hanging out. We love you, and we will see you back here tomorrow. Goodbye.